Do you know which animal lives the longest? A rabbit? A wolf? Maybe? Or a crocodile? If you don't know, stick around until the end and subscribe if you want facts that actually blow your mind. Because we're about to count up, from old to older to something so old it sounds fake. Let's begin. Let's start small. A rabbit lives about 9 years. A wolf can make it to 13, maybe 16 in captivity. A crocodile? Now we're talking real time. Up to 70 years, sometimes more. Still, not even close. What about a parrot? You've probably seen one. Macaws are famous for outliving their owners, often reaching 60, sometimes 80 years old. Some parrots have literally been passed down in families like heirlooms, from grandparent to grandchild. Not bad for a bird. Still, not even close. An elephant can live past 80. Their secret isn't magic, it's family. Elephants have few babies, and they protect them fiercely for years. Fewer babies, more care. That combination buys time. Researcher Cynthia Moss, who has studied elephants in Kenya for over 5 decades, found that older female elephants often lead their herds. Age isn't a weakness out there, it's leadership. But we're just getting started. A giant tortoise can live past 150 years. On the island of St. Helena, there's one named Jonathan. He's estimated to be around 190 years old. Think about that. Jonathan was already alive before the light bulb was invented, before the telephone, before cars existed. He's outlived multiple British monarchs. He's technically older than the country he lives near even had electricity. And he's still out there today, grazing in the sun, completely unaware that he's a living piece of history. Scientists think tortoises age so slowly, partly because of their low metabolic rate and partly because their organs simply don't wear out the way ours do. Some researchers studying reptile physiology have found that tortoises show very few signs of age-related decline, even in their final decades of life. They don't really get old, they just get older. Crazy, right? Now let's go underwater, because that's where things get strange. A bowhead whale can live past 200 years. In 2007, fishermen off the coast of Alaska found something stuck in a bowhead's blubber. A harpoon tip, not from last year, from the 1800s. That whale had been swimming around since before the telephone existed. How is that even possible? Scientists studying bowhead whale DNA found something remarkable. A gene called ERCC, one that repairs damaged cells, and another gene, pCNA, that appears to be duplicated, possibly slowing down aging itself. Their bodies are quietly fixing themselves, year after year, for 2 centuries. But bowhead whales are not the oldest animal in the ocean, not even close. Meet the rock-eye rockfish. It looks completely unremarkable, gray, small, the kind of fish you'd never look at twice. But this fish can live past 200 years too. Most of its relatives die by age 11. This one just doesn't. Why? Scientists studying rockfish otoliths, tiny bone structures in their ears that record age like tree rings, found that some individuals keep reproducing well into old age. They don't slow down. They don't give up. They just keep going. Now, before we go further, let's leave the world of bones behind completely. Off the coast of Hawaii, researchers found a glass sponge over 2,100 meters below the surface, estimated to be over 2,000 years old. There are even deep-sea corals believed to be over 4,000 years old. But these are colonies, thousands of tiny organisms fused together, not one single continuous animal. So let's get back to single creatures, because this is where it gets absurd. The Greenland shark lives in the freezing waters of the Arctic and North Atlantic. It grows about 1 centimeter a year. In 2016, a team led by Danish scientist Julius Nielsen used radiocarbon dating on the lens of a Greenland shark's eye. Not the outside, the eye lens, which forms in layers, like an onion, and never changes once it's made. Their finding? One female shark was estimated to be around 392 years old. Let that sink in. That shark could have been alive during the reign of Shakespeare. And here's the wildest part. Female Greenland sharks don't even reach reproductive maturity until they're about 150 years old. Imagine still being considered a teenager at 150. Scientists believe the secret is the cold. Near freezing water slows their metabolism to a crawl. Slow heartbeat, slow growth, slow damage. It's like living life in extreme slow motion, and it might be the reason they barely seem to age at all. There's something else strange about these sharks too. Many of them are partially blind. A small parasite often attaches itself to their eyes and stays there for life. And a Greenland shark's life can mean centuries with that same parasite riding along. They just seem to tolerate it, generation after generation, century after century. For a long time, people thought the Greenland shark was the oldest living animal on Earth with a backbone, and it still holds that title today. The longest living vertebrate on the planet, full stop. No fish, no whale, no reptile beats it. But vertebrates aren't the final answer, because some animals don't even have bones. And that's where the story gets even stranger. Meet the ocean quahog. It's a clam. Just a plain, ordinary-looking clam, found buried in the sandy seafloor of the North Atlantic. In 2006, researchers dredged one up off the coast of Iceland. They named her Ming, after the Chinese dynasty that was ruling when she was born. Scientists counted the growth rings on her shell, the same way you'd count rings on a tree. The results stunned everyone. Ming was 507 years old. She was born in the year 1499. She was alive during the Renaissance. She was alive during the invention of the printing press, the founding of countries, 2 world wars, and the invention of the internet. And then, in a cruel twist, scientists accidentally killed her while opening her shell to confirm her age. 5 centuries of survival, ended by the very people trying to understand her. So is that the final answer? The oldest animal ever recorded? Not quite, because there's one more creature. And this one doesn't just live a long time. It might not have to die of old age at all. It's called Turritopsis dohrnii. You probably know it by its nickname, the immortal jellyfish. It's tiny, less than 5 millimeters across, smaller than your pinky nail, found in oceans around the world, and it has a trick no other known animal can fully pull off. When it's injured, sick, or starving, instead of dying, its cells begin to transform. Mature cells reverse back into an earlier stage of life. The jellyfish essentially turns itself back into a baby, a polyp, and then it grows up all over again. Scientists call this transdifferentiation. It was first documented by a German student named Christian Sommer in 1988, and later studied extensively by Italian biologist Stefano Pereno. Imagine if, every time you got seriously injured, your body could just rewind itself back to childhood and start over. That's what this jellyfish does. Over and over and over again. There's no known limit to how many times it can repeat this cycle, which means, theoretically, a single Turritopsis dohrnii could keep resetting its life forever. So does that make it immortal? Not exactly. It can still be eaten. It can still be killed. Biological immortality doesn't mean invincibility. It just means old age itself isn't the thing that gets it. Which raises a strange question. If aging isn't inevitable for this creature, why is it inevitable for us? Scientists studying the immortal jellyfish's cell reversal process think it could hold clues for regenerative medicine. Understanding how mature cells can revert to a younger state might one day help researchers understand human aging, or even how to repair damaged tissue. Think about how different that is from us. Human cells don't reverse. Once they age, they age. Our best-known record holder, a French woman named Jean-Louise Calment, lived to 122 years old. That's the longest confirmed human lifespan ever recorded. She saw the construction of the Eiffel Tower as a child, and she was still alive when the internet was invented. 122 years sounds incredible, and it is. But compared to a shark nearing 400, or a jellyfish that might never stop resetting itself, it's barely a warm-up. So think back to where we started. A rabbit, a wolf, a crocodile. Now compare that to a shark older than most nations, a clam that outlived 5 centuries of human history, and a jellyfish that might not have to die of old age at all. The world is stranger than you think. If this blew your mind, subscribe if you want facts that actually blow your mind, and let me know in the comments. If you could live forever like the immortal jellyfish, would you?